My name is Erica Santos, and my partner, Leigh Edwards, and I completed our Design a Space project on the Berns Student Center and campus bookstore at Methodist University. Now I'm going to hand it over to Leigh, who's going to tell you about the history of the Berns Student Center.
So some background or some history on the Berns Student Center. It's actually one of the first four buildings that are original to this campus, and which was first opened to students in September 1960. Between the years of 1967 and 1964, there were actually additions made to the student union, which it was called back then. And in 1974, there was actually a first full-time director hired. Most recently, in 2012 and 2013, there were renovations that were made, which included a new brick store, the convenience store, a Starbucks, and the Chick-fil-A restaurant. So making it to the Berns Student Center that we now know it as. So what can we find in the Berns Student Center? Well, on the bottom floor, there are career services offices, there's the green and gold cafeteria, and there's the dining rooms. The bottom floor can be accessed through the parking lot that is directly in front of the Riddle Athletic Center and the outdoor basketball court. And this does allow for wheelchair accessibility, although there are limited parking spots. In the top floor, there are various offices, including student affair offices, the Student Solution Center, as well as the bookstore, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, and other eating venues. The top floor can be accessed through the parking lot located near the library and directly across from the Methodist University Business Building.
So for our assessment, we use the Americans with Disabilities Act compliance checklist to evaluate barriers and supports at the Berns Student Center. Communal spaces evaluated include the parking lot, entrances, exits, and the campus bookstore. Now, when assessing the entrance to the Berns Student Center, there were actually two main entrance exits where you could get in and out of the building. So one was in the front that was facing a gigantic parking lot. However, there was no elevator and there was only stairs that led up there. And the stairs had non-skid grip tape and handrails on both sides. And for the wheelchair accessible entrance, it was a good distance from the parking lot. However, it did have a ramp with a push button. However, when we went, the push button was not working. And if you look at the top of our poster, you can see an out of order sign on the third picture from your left, right here, where it was out of order. So some barriers to the Berns Center include the automatic door only being at one entrance. There was a freight elevator, but it was only used for deliveries, not so much to transport people. And the metal handrails outside of the building that was at the entrance that was wheelchair accessible had unstable metal handrails that were very shaky and not completely cemented to the ground. As for the bookstore, there was no automatic doors or push button. There were very narrow paths in between merchandise that were less than 36 inches in width. It lacked visible ADA compliant signage, and there wasn't anybody on the floor that could assist someone who is in a wheelchair or a walker pull down a book from a high shelf or get through an aisle. Now, some supports that the Berns Center did have was an adequate number of accessible parking spaces, a wheelchair accessible ramp with railings on both sides, and an automatic door push button. As for the campus bookstore, the door handles were less than 48 inches high and operable with a closed fist, so very easily accessible for someone in a wheelchair to open the door. Additionally, there was a 5-foot circle for a person using a wheelchair to reverse direction. Some recommendations I have for the Berns Center include having automatic doors at both entrances and exits of the building. This would eliminate the need for a push button on either side, and it would be accessible to everybody. I'd also recommend reinforcing stronger railings outside of the entrance with the ramp since they were very shaky. Installation of an all-access elevator would be great for everyone. This is in addition to their freight elevator so that people and freight can both get into the center. And add tactile signage to identify where the restrooms are. Because there was signage in the general area in the Berns Center, but there wasn't any Braille signage to help anybody with a low vision disorder or somebody who reads Braille to identify the restroom. As for the campus bookstore, I recommend that they add automatic doors and or a push button for the entrance. To also widen aisles and pathways to materials and services to a minimum of 36 inches wide, just so that it's accessible for someone with a wheelchair to get through and purchase books and merchandise. Additionally, I recommend that there be high contrast signage to include brailled text along with pictograms. And if there was an active support staff member assisting people on the floor, maybe even directing people to places and also helping them grab items, that would be a great addition as well. And now I'm going to hand it back off to Lei.
I will now discuss assistive technology recommendations. Please reference the handout for specific names and pictures of the devices. The assistive technology device that I would recommend for the Berns Student Center is a passenger elevator. Currently, the Student Center only has a freight elevator, which is only available for commercial purposes, such as bookstore and food venue deliveries. The assistive technology device that I would recommend for the bookstore are the Easy Reacher with suction cups to allow for a better grasp of lighter textbooks and materials. It is not recommended for heavy textbooks. The way that the textbook section of the bookstore is organized is that there is paper signage in every single aisle, which does not have very large font, which is why the coil ergonomic magnifier would be a great device to have accessible. This device magnifies text and images and can be extremely helpful to patrons with low vision. Currently, the bookstore does not provide a computer that can be accessed on its premises in order to submit a request for needed materials for the semester. While many use their personal computers or electronic devices to order textbooks, not everyone has access to such devices. This is why my third recommendation is a desktop computer with a Kensington orbital optical trackball and a 40-cell braille display. With a trackball device, you control a large ball using your index and middle fingers, although really any combination of your 5-digit works. There is a large button that are located on both sides that act as the left and the right buttons, and they're controlled using your thumb and pinky fingers. One of the advantages of this finger-operated trackball is that it is ambidextrous, so it's suitable for both left and right-handed use. And this is also very beneficial for individuals who are experiencing upper extremity range of motion deficits, both range of motion and strength deficits. So the Braille display is an electronic device that allows a person who has no vision or low vision to read the text displayed on a computer monitor. So what it does is that the computer sends the text to the output device, where it is then converted to Braille and then displayed by raising rounded pins through a flat surface on the machine. And this is beneficial, like I said before, for individuals with low or no vision. Another assistive technology device that I would recommend is actually a computer software program called JAWS and Kurzweil 3000, and these enable individuals who have visual impairments to access the information on a computer screen through voice output. Meanwhile, another one that I would recommend is the Zoom Text program, which allows individuals with low vision to access computer information by enlarging the screen display or tailoring the display to accommodate their needs. Another recommendation that I would make are textbook accessibility websites, such as Bookshare, Leiali'i, and then again, the Kurzweil 3000. And these all make reading easier. They help people with dyslexia, blindness, cerebral palsy, and other reading barriers. And it allows them to customize their experience to suit their learning style and find virtually any book they need for either school, work, or just for pure joy of reading. And these websites also provide audiobook technology. So for interventions, we wanted to create a computer-based visual textbook locator system for the bookstore. So that's basically like a virtual map of the bookstore, so it can allow the patrons to find where the books are exactly in the bookstore. And this kind of reduces the need for them to roam around the bookstore in order to find the textbook they need. Another intervention is just the promotion of textbook accessibility platforms, such as the ones that I have described here. So that's both computer software and then computer hardware, and then promotion of access services. So that means just assisting individuals with disabilities by retrieving or returning materials as needed. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I hope that you guys enjoyed. Please feel free to ask us or email us any questions that you may have. Thank you and have a wonderful day.